Good morning, guys. So, in this video, I want to walk you through how to decorate a buttercream cake. So, to start off, I'm going to be working with 2 inches chocolate and sorry, 6 inches chocolate and 6 inches red velvet. Now, to make sure that my cakes are stable in the board, I always apply glucose syrup to the board. This is just glucose syrup. In that way, it's going to hold the cake firmly to the board so that it's not going to slide off while I'm working on it or while it's still on transit. So to get started, this is my turntable. Now I'm basically using this turntable because I want you guys to see what I'm working on. If I am off camera, I just when layering my cake, I place the cake board on the table directly. So I'm just going to go ahead with the first layer, place it on the board, and then I just want each of those layers to be 4 inches. So I'm just going to trim off the top of the cake, and then I'll be left with 2 inches under because I've measured the cake prior. This cake is a super moist cake and it's so good. Now, when your cakes are very moist, you need to pay attention in the working process so you don't damage the cakes or let it fall apart. This requires a careful trimming. If the cake wasn't really taller than I wanted, it would have been perfect not to trim it at all. But since I want a specific height for the cake, I needed to trim up the dome side. Here's my buttercream. So I'm going to just place this buttercream on top of the cake. I'm using just a buttercream filling. Now, I am in Nigeria and we don't really put a lot of fillings in between our cakes because we don't put a lot of filling in between our cakes because most of our clients don't really want a cake that is extremely too sweet. My light is off, so I'm going to really work using the light sources from my windows and my doors. I hope the power comes back soon. Good morning. Yes, we are going. I'm just going to quickly ice this cake and we can leave. I'm going to do the same thing I did with chocolate. I'm still going to trim the red velvet part. So now before you come for me because of my hands are properly washed. Before each job, I always make sure that I wash my hands properly because if I'm using a glove for this, my hands will be sticking to the cake since it's a super moist cake. Hi Bella, good morning. I don't. Good morning, Domike. I don't really know what that is. So for the up, I'm still going to add the chocolate, sorry, the buttercream, and I'm going to crumb coat the body with the buttercream so that it can lock all the crumbs. Now, if you are new to icing, you want to separate the buttercream into two batches. Put the one that you're going to use for your crumb coat in another bowl. Then you put the one for the main coating in another bowl. In that way, you're not going to have so that you can prevent crumbs from like getting all over the place on your cake. But then for me, I've been doing this for a very long time, so I just know how to collect my buttercream from a particular side so that the crumbs will not be all over the place. Because one thing with this with cake decoration is that you're going to use a lot of utensils, your plates. You're going to end up washing a lot. And seriously, I don't really enjoy washing so many dishes. So I want to maximize the number of plates I use while baking a cake or icing a cake. So that's basically why I am not going to separate my buttercream before crumb coating. So when applying the buttercream like this, make sure you lock in all the crumbs. Now, this is the only way that you're going to have a very neat job when you are done without the whole cake having crumbs popping out here and there. Doesn't really give a good finishing. So hiding the crumbs as much as possible is the way to go to ensure that you have a very nice finished job. Hi, Crowell. Okay, good morning. Ryan, good morning. I'm doing fine, thank you. For a birthday cake, it depends. We charge birthday cakes based on the flavor, the size of the cake, and the design that you want on the cake. For something like this is a 2 inch cake. Sorry, a 2 inch, each layer is 2 inch, and it is a 6 inches cake in the width side. So, okay, my light is back. That's good. I'm happy about that. Okay, so for this size of cake, we make this size because it's going to just be a plain design. It's not going to be a lot going on the cake. So for something like this, in Nigerian currency, we charge 25,000. Now it depends on the baker you're getting it from. Some might give you for more, some might give you for less. So it really depends on who you are getting the birthday cake from. But if you're obviously getting from me, it is going to be just 25,000. Now, after locking in all the crumbs, I'm just going to go ahead and smoothen this out. Okay, this particular one is 20,000 naira. Sorry, 25,000 naira for this. For two layers of 6 inches cake, 25,000. Then if you want more details on the cake, then probably it will cost more, depending on the details you want on the cake and the amount that is going to be spent getting those details done. Now I'm done with the crumb coat and I'm just going to go ahead and apply the second coat. Now before I apply any second coat to my cake, I always want to wipe off my table so that I don't have crumbs everywhere on the table. And just to ensure it needs finishing and the whole accident of having crumbs everywhere. You don't get it. Now I'm applying the second coat for the cake. I'm not going to add so much because the client specifically said that they don't want the cake to be too have too much icing sugar. Excuse me for a sec. So I'm just going to add thin layers of this. Hi Ryan, good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining my live. Please, if you're already on this live, try to give the video a like, drop a comment, and please subscribe to the channel. I was going to be coming often on live all this kind of for a while now. I promise I'll be coming all the time. But then I have an event going on, so I have not been able to be online for a while now. I decided to show up this morning before getting busy again. So if you happen to pass by, please leave a like on the video. My wedding is coming up next weekend, and I have been super busy with the wedding preparation, so I have not been coming on live. But then after the wedding, I'm going to have all the time in the world to be very present here and make more live videos. So please subscribe to the channel and help me form a community. So I work from the top of the cake like this and bring the buttercream to the edges. If you noticed, while I was applying the buttercream, I was avoiding touching the edges with my palette knife. And that was because touching the edge with the palette knife can pull off the buttercream from the edges. And then you're going to have a lot of crumbs on your cake. That is why we often work from the top of the cake to bring down the icing to the edges. Okay, now it's time to smoothen out the cake. I'm going to comb this cake, so I'm not going to do a lot of smoothing on the cake. So just hold your smoother at an angle 45. Don't scrape the cake, just hold it at a stable angle and then just go around without stopping. In that way you have a very smooth cake. Now for this last round I want to go, I'm going to put my hand like this and then I'm going to move around without stopping, without a hitch, so that I can get a very smooth cake. Now, there we go. The cake is all smooth. I'm just going to flip. I'm going to use the same comb to comb the same smoother because it is two-way. This is a smoother part and this is a comb part. So I'm going to use this design of comb on the cake. So still holding it at the same angle, I'm just go move around without stopping again so I can get the details of the comb on my cake. Now, see, I'm stopping at the same place. So I move around and I stop at where I started. This is just to get very smooth combo. Move around, then I stop at where I started. Now I do this sometimes three, four times until I get a very smooth body for the cake. Now I'm just going to go for the last time. So I hold my hand like this. Now where my hand is resting, it is where when I move around, we're going to stop there. So that's just the circle. Now I'm not going to stop this turntable or take a break until I've gotten to where I am placing my hand right now. Okay? So I have a very smooth, the comb effect is so beautiful. And then go ahead with the other parts of the icing that I want to put on the cake. Now to smoothen the edge of the cake, some will use a spatula, some will use a straight spatula like the palette knife like this. Some will use your smoother, some will use the angle palette knife. Then, but I found out that my smoother works the best for me. So whatever that works best for you, if it's your palette knife or your smoother, whichever one is fine. But I use this and I'm showing you just how I make use of this. So I hold the smoother, then I just, from where my buttercream started from, just going to drag it to the center and I'll stop and I'll clean it off. Now, when you are doing this, you don't go twice without cleaning it off. You're going to ruin the edges of your cake. Now, I hold it again from the edge, I drag it to the center, and I clean off. Now, a lot of people have a problem with getting sharp edges for buttercream, and this trick just works the best. Good. Now we have smooth buttercream. Okay, look how beautiful it is. Guys. The comb effect is showing very well, and the whole cake is looking perfect. The edge is super sharp, and then here comes the details for the cake. For the details, I'm going to put a chocolate ganache drip. So I'm just going to get the chocolate ganache. 2 minutes. We're back. Now I'm using a melted chocolate ganache, and that is I kind of stiffen up because I did that earlier. So I'm going to just put it on the heat and allow it melt back, and then we can go ahead with our job. The chocolate ganache is going to come just before this. For to do the piping, I'm using an M1 nozzle. You're going to see the design I'm going to make it later. I think this is almost here. So you guys who just hopped into this video, please give me a like, please, and please subscribe to the channel. It's going to mean a lot to me. I'll be coming live often while I'm doing my work, and if you learn anything, let me go get the chocolate ganache. Have a melted chocolate, which is not super melted. Just going to add a drip of a touch this. Now this consistency is just right for what I want. I am not so good at piping. Yes, I have to let this cool down a little bit. I'm already making a mess of the liters I want to pipe on this. Yeah, I think I need to allow the chocolate cool down a bit. I am not getting a nice finishing with the calligraphy, so I'm just going to let it cool down a bit before using it. Okay, let me try again. Okay, I think this is better. Happy birthday, JP. Give it more details. Now this is beautiful. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of more gold, add more details. Guys, so the cake is ready, and this is what we have. I rate this cake. Just go to the comment section and rate the cake from 1 to 10. Let me know how good I tried or how worse I did. But the cake is ready. And thank you so much for joining my life. I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by. I'll do better next time. I kind of have a little problem with the calligraphy since the chocolate is still joining. All shots comrade, good morning. Thank you so much for stopping by. I kind of have a little problem with the chocolate still joining. Uh, with the happy birthday chocolate still joining. I don't really know. I think that's because the chocolate's not stiffing up, and I feel like I should fix it. Okay. I think it's fixed now. It's fixed. See, guys, admire the cake. Film the cake. Hi, comrade. Hey, guys, thank you so much for tuning by, for stopping. Thank you for the likes and thank you for the views. See you next time in my next video. Bye bye.